So university team for Southeast Missouri State. SR is a little bit over the place due to having relatively limited number of people, but generally scrimming, depending on the week and who's available, between 2.8 and 3.3.
Sick. Awesome. Okay, well, looking forward to working with you guys. So Southeast Missouri, you said?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so Southeast Missouri, high plat, low diamond, and we're going to go over some Eichenwald. So is everybody here who's going to be here?
Yeah, they should be.
Okay, sick. Let me get this situated. Then I'm going to stream through Discord so you guys don't have to watch over stream. So there's no delay. Okay. Alrighty. Let me know if you guys can see that. And I'm going to play a little bit as well, so let me know if you can hear.
Ready for battle.
Yep.
All set?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So this is an official match. You guys are team blue or red?
We're red.
Red. Okay, sounds good. Do we know what the enemy team's SR is on average? I know.
This one, this one's a little bit weird, and we've had a whole thing, but I believe guesstimating they're about 3.4.
Okay, so a lot higher than you. Well, not a lot higher, but higher than you guys. So you guys have winnable map against a higher SR team. That's very impressive. That means that you guys must be doing something right when it comes to team play and execution. I mean, when we talk about scrimmage and we talk about ranked, I think the key thing that everybody has to understand is that while SR definitely matters, mechanics matters, knowing your role, being high rank matters. Obviously, you look at the Overwatch League and there's players that are the best at their role, mechanically and ranked. However, I speak from personal experience here, playing in the competitive contenders, working with Overwatch League players, things like that, is that sometimes the teams with the best mechanically skilled or the higher strength players isn't always the best. Things like team play, synergy, coordination. There's a lot of successful teams in Overwatch League and Overwatch Contenders past that have done, I mean, honestly, quote unquote, overperformed. In other words, they have done better than what you'd think. Oh, that player, man, I poop on him on ranked. He's like only like 4.5. He can't even get back to 4.6. He's trash. But he's rolling you in scrims because the team play is on a different level. So whenever we review these things, I like to know the SR ahead of time, kind of sets the expectations, but also SR doesn't mean that there's any excuse for your team play to be any worse. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's a bad thing and a good thing, because that means I'm going to be a lot tougher on you, because I don't give a rip if you're I don't care if you're not GM. You should still be synergizing and communicating and having good planning from the outside looking in. And that's a little, disheartening, but it's also encouraging, because it means that you guys have a lot of potential. If you guys execute very well as a team, like we talked about here, you're playing a team that is on average a higher SR than you, it doesn't matter as much. It doesn't matter as much. Like, if this is ranked and there was a 200 SR difference in the teams, you guys would be getting full held, right? But because this is scrims, it's a whole different story. That's where the level of team play, the coordination, the coaching, the individual communication, that stuff matters just a lot more. So I'm excited to be working with this, because every VOD review that we do on stream is the goal of increasing and complementing and giving you guys not just how do we play on this map, how do we play this composition necessarily, but like what can we be doing better as a team in every composition, in every map. What are the fundamentals of team play in Overwatch, and like what can we be doing better overall? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, sick. So looking at your comp, can you guys, let me just make sure that this is what you guys actually roll out on. Okay, great. So you guys are rolling out in Hanzo Mei, Ryan Diva. What is the purpose of, how would you describe your comp? What is the purpose of your composition? And then finally, how are you going to beat the enemy comp? Like, what is your quote unquote basic, fundamental, boring win condition? How are you going to beat them?
So we think the point of this comp is basically to force the brawl when we want it and have our Hanzo be able to take off angles, not necessarily hard flanks, but just kind of poke from the side and keep their Rhine from pushing too hard.
Okay.
And the mate just kind of helps with the brawl, isolates the Rhine, and just makes it way harder to push W.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so you're looking essentially to take, so like basically brawl, looking for brawls, but brawls where your Hanzo is taking an angle. Okay. Now what I like to do is, especially when we're coming up on really, really close mirror matchups, is very simply, what is the Hanzo better at than the McCree, and how can we play around that?
Longer sightlines.
Okay, longer sightlines. Okay, so how does that affect how you play this matchup?
I'm probably deciding where to engage. Like,
Sure. It's not a big deal. You still would like to like hold chokes and things like that, but you would like to play in an area where your Hanzo has a good sightline or a high ground that he can use. Sure. Okay. And then what's the other adjustment that you guys have in composition?
we have the Zarya instead of the Diva.
Well, you have the Diva instead of the Zarya, but yeah. So what is that? And this is the one that gets screwed up a lot. Okay. Even GM players screw this one up a lot. What is your advantage in this matchup?
At least for me, the big thing is making sure that my Ryan can build a shatter a lot faster due to the fact that the main Ryan has 0 chance of getting any ult charge with fire strikes if I'm not feeding my brains out anyway.
Sure. Okay. So you can eat fire strikes. What should you be doing in the brawl? How does Diva outvalue the Zarya?
As well as blocking enemy healing.
Okay, eating enemy healing. What does Diva have that Zarya does not have in terms of like general playstyle?
Mobility and the ability to take off angles.
Right. So how do you leverage that mobility? How do you utilize it?
Pressure from a different angle in order to force resources out.
You can put yourself somewhere else that makes them turn their fat, ugly, stupid heads. And Zarya doesn't matter if she's not beaming your Reinhardt. So that's the idea, is what you maybe lack in terms of raw damage and the ability to bubble your Rhine in, you enable by eating healing, eating fire strikes, things like that, but also making more members of the enemy team look away to deal with you because you can constantly be repositioning yourself and kind of always edging it. Oh, I'm about to get demacked, I play conservative, I get passive healing, I go off angle again. Like every single time you engage, and the high ground's the best spot to do that because it's hard for them to actually burn your HP as easy as it is when you're playing behind Ryan Shield. So what does a neutral engage look like? In other words, as you walk through this choke, what are you looking to do? Just simply as you can.
Try to isolate if we can, and if not, just hug natural cover until we can force a brawl.
Okay, so what does a brawl look like? Like, what are you guys looking at? Like, when your Reinhardt goes 3, 2, 1, go, like, whatever, what does that mean for everybody in your team?
The simplest terms would be just generally pressing W, but as well as, trying to word my thoughts. Hold up.
It's okay. Just look at your individual heroes. What is Diva going to do? What is Hanzo going to do? What is Ryan going to do? What is Bap going to do? What is Lucio going to do? What is Mei going to do? Right?
So as far as both Diva and Hanzo, we'd be looking to take relative off angles to the main fight with your Ryan and Mei.
Yes, exactly. Well, what about your Ryan and Mei?
Just try to use that Mei wall to isolate the Ryan and then pressure him.
Brilliant. Okay, what about your Bap and Lucio?
Basically just make sure our Ryan can walk through the point fast enough, especially with Lucio speeding him through, and Bap just making sure that I'm watching him, make sure everybody gets through safely. Sure.
So Bap has a lot of little micro duties, but pretty straightforward. What about Lucio though? What is an additional thing Lucio could be looking to do?
Disrupt the enemy positioning with boop.
Yeah, sure. You can boop the Ryan in. You can boop the Mei away. You can boop the Zarya in. There's a million things you can do. So exactly. So you guys have nailed it. Like, I've not fed you any information at all. You've spat it out to me. So now, when we look at a team fight, we can't blame lack of knowledge, can we? So whatever goes wrong here, it's not going to be something that we attack necessarily so much as we go, that needs to be prioritized. That needs to be fixed. That needs to be adjusted, because you guys understood. You guys don't have any misunderstanding of the composition at all. You're perfectly nailing it on the head. By the way, do you guys play Hanzo because you have a good Hanzo player, or that's just the style that you like?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good at Hanzo compared to the rest of these.
Sick. Works for me. Hanzo Brawl is totally fine, and also Dragon is pretty decent, so go for it. Okay, so all we're going to do now is we're just going to look at this neutral fight, and are we going to see Maywall? Are we going to see Diva Hanzo taking an angle? Are we going to see Bap, Lucio doing their jobs as well? And that's what we're going to be focusing on. We've constructed our theoretical perfect fight, and we want to see it happen that way. Now, yeah, they really should be holding at the choke, but they're not going to. Your Hanzo's not like, hey, all right, sick. Okay. Now, this is the key. Was this I think he's going to initiate? Now, is our Mei player in the call?
Yes.
Okay. So what was this wall for?
Mainly to isolate the damage that we could take. I noticed I was taking some from the back. Just wanted to block off some of the damage.
So you weren't even walling to rush. You were walling to just cause a resource split. Is that what you're
Mainly.
saying? Okay, that's
Looking
totally
for
fine.
that Ryan.
Yeah, as long as your team can actually do something with the wall, that's fine. Like obviously there's good walls and there's bad walls. This one's okay. Forces their wall as well. Slow it down a little bit. My only concern here, okay, so you guys tell me, what's my only concern with, let's go back a little bit here, because are we playing to our Hanzo's strengths now? Kind of, sort of, kind of. He doesn't really have a great angle. That's not exactly amazing. But what else is concerning about our composition? Remember, what are the differences in our comp, right? It's the Hanzo versus the McCree and the D.Va versus Zarya. What's the issue with the D.Va versus Zarya right now?
I, as the D.Va, am currently just in a really weird spot.
Yeah, and and to be perfectly honest, I don't know what you do right now. I don't know what you do. If we're gonna stand here, I don't really know if there is anything you can do. So what I know, we talked about how like maybe we can give place for some time with our Hanzo to take angles here, but I'm thinking what would be another option for us in terms of engages if we want to play this D.Va Hanzo style. What could we do?
So a little bit fancy and time consuming, but going all the way through the back line to the high ground on point itself.
Yeah. You could Maywall here, and at like right before you do that, your D.Va starts to walk here. You Maywall, and your D.Va boosters up here, right? You see this? But you guys have to be ready to like actually take the fight here, right? Maybe at the same time, your Hanzo looks to take a little bit of a flank here. Maybe not. Maybe he can just peek from here or peek from here. I don't really care. But if we're gonna play around a D.Va and they've got Zarya, we're gonna want to look for an engage that allows my D.Va to take high ground like that. Now, you as a D.Va, so D.Va player and call, yes?
Yep,
yeah,
that'd be me.
Yeah, right. So what can you do to like for this to happen? What can you call to make this happen?
Mainly just call that rush to the side there.
Yeah, say
especially as I know that the May
Right.
wall is down for both teams.
Right. I want to go high ground. Can we push? Right? And that's it. But you need your team to be able to push with you, otherwise it's not going to work. So just kind of trading here. They're building charge. We're slowly taking space, but obviously right now, positionally, what's not great right now? The two things again.
I again am in a weird spot, directly behind the Rhine.
Directly behind Ryan, and look at our Hanzo as well. Right. If we're playing like this, you just go Reaper, because your Hanzo's not going to do jack here. Your Hanzo needs to be split, shooting the Rhine from behind cover, threatening picks in the BAP behind cover. He can Sonic here and walk. Look to peek the McCree through here. He could even look to Sonic here and hard flank. But this is like, I can tell you right now that he's got the ult charge right now. But that's just the Reinhardt not playing cover properly. This is not how Hanzo should be played. Otherwise, again, just play Reaper. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Is a Hanzo player in this call right now?
No, he couldn't make it.
Okay, that's no problem. Okay, so we muff up our wall, unfortunate, and they rush us down. So like, there's a couple of things that go wrong here, and I think I want to like highlight them. Well, you guys highlight them for me. What are the issues here?
2 stacked.
Okay, 2 stacked. You muff your May wall. Nobody cares. Unlucky, go next. 2 stacked.
And I get flashed.
And you get flashed, right? So this is all, but like before we start talking about D.Va, you need to be eating flashbang, and we need to make sure that we hit our wall, and like we need to make sure that we're ready to lamp when if we can't matrix the flashbang, we need to be ready to lamp our right. That's all true, right? All those things are true, but what set us up for failure there?
Mainly the stacked positioning.
Yeah, the stacked positioning, your D.Va not being properly positioned, your Hanzo not being properly positioned, and that's it. Don't worry about the rest. The rest just doesn't matter. Because your Reinhardt, if your D.Va's better position, it's easier for your D.Va to see and know how and where to matrix, right? And there's more pressure from your Hanzo. And you're less likely to choke your May wall because you can May wall half a second later without having to rush it as much. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So one thing we're going to do in this review is we're not going to go over every single individual area because we're going to get bored to tears. Instead, we're going to prioritize the big stuff, the big obvious, big picture stuff that's going to have the biggest impact, right? So setting up your positioning. Probably didn't need to lamp that. Let me look at this lamp again. Yeah, probably didn't need to lamp that. So probably could have gotten away with this. Now, I really like this dragon because they're in rotation. They're in a really awkward positioning, so you just go for it. Good aggression. Nice. I like this. So if we like look at like what our diva does here, probably better, by the way. I know we're going over a little bit of micro here. With high noon, I want you to wait like a half a second longer before you matrix. Just half a second longer. Like bait him with the skulls. And then what that'll do is that will allow you to matrix almost the full high noon. So like right now, nobody has a skull right now. Right? You see this? You see how I see it in his screen? So right now you'd start to matrix. You see that? And then like now look at your matrix. You're already over halfway done, or right at halfway done. So you'd have full matrix, and what you could do is you could full matrix, booster through, booster up here, recharge a little bit of matrix, and then flash it at the very end again. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Sick. Okay. But yeah, they just get caught. Like, okay, can we talk about like why this goes so poorly for them?
They just got way too aggressive.
Yeah. It wasn't just too aggressive. Where did they get aggressive?
When they were trying to chase kills, like they tried to chase our May down and they walled, and our May just ice blocked and survived for
whose space is this?
Hours.
This is your space, because and if they're gonna play here, they better stand there and not run through a choke. The ironic thing is that on defense, if they want to spawn hold you, sure, but you commit to the spawn hold. The second you start to turn around and run, now you're the one running through the choke, which is exactly what they did, and that's exactly where they died. And you can see it right here. This is where all their difficulties happen, right? It's it's in this awkward situation where half of them are here, half of them are here. The Hanzo forces a really nice split, and you guys smash them.
And for context on that, this was round 1 of the playoffs. We had actually played this team the week before in the last round of regular season. We knew that they're very, very prone to this.
To the crazy aggression.
And just getting greedy and chasing kills.
Right. Perfect. So scouting information paid off. Hanzo will smack him in the mouth, and easy first point cap. Now this this is what's the game plan here? So this is where in every single VOD review I do, team VOD review, especially with first timers, is I ask a question. And the very important question, the question that you should always be asking yourself is, what the heck is the game plan here? What are we doing?
The last time we played them, they just sat high ground and gave us like half the map for free. So the plan was just to stack cart, use it for cover, and as soon as they start to drop to contest us, try to wall them off so that they're kind of split, and just take as much of that free card as they want to give us, because they gave us a lot last time.
So that's unorthodox, right? Most teams are generally going to try and contest high ground, but if you have previous scouting information and you understand exactly, so this is a good. Let me type this up here. This is where you have, and this might be something to write down. This is where planning can either involve a proactive plan, right, or it can be reactive, right? And the idea behind that is, when you're proactive, you're not waiting on them to do something to utilize your plan. In other words, we're going to go high ground and we're going to win to them. That's it, right? The reactive plan is what you just described to me, where we know as soon as they start to take the fight on us, we do this to stop them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't matter which one you do. Most teams will always say, it's always better to be proactive. Yeah, proactive. Yeah. And there's something psychological behind that, which makes sense. But you don't have to be. You don't have to be. You can be reactive as long as everybody knows exactly what's happening. So you're saying here that, as soon as they drop, we're going to wall and we're going to rush. That's not good enough for me. I need more than that. What more needs to be said?
Target priority, maybe?
Target priority? Okay, what else? Because target priority, to be honest, is a little tricky because you don't know who's going to be available instantly.
How specifically we are going to take advantage of them being split.
Sure. What ults are we going to use? You've got Shatter. Obviously, you can't always force that one, but you're going to come up on Window, and you're definitely, you're almost certainly going to have Blizzard as well. And you also have to keep in mind what they have, right? Because if we're talking about like, hey, they might just drop and grab here, how does it affect how we play?
I would basically try to save my DM a lot more, as well as saving wall. If we get Blizzard up in time, potentially blizzing at our feet to make sure they can't run at us.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to think about this. You got to prioritize. Now, I don't expect you guys to go through and track every single win condition. So you guys right now are going to give me an example of a proper reactive plan where you track. I want you to look at their ults, think, okay, what are the most important things that we need to be tracking, and then what are we going to do about it? Ready, go. Anybody?
Do you want me to, or do you want to, Ty?
Go ahead, you go first.
So my thing is, presuming that I knew that they had both Blizz and Grav, and this again from the previous week, we knew that they love to use Blizz and Grav pretty much every single time they had it, both of them.
Okay.
And occasionally shattering it as well. Honestly, there's a part of me that wants to completely dry push it and let them use ults because they've been very, very trigger happy with them.
Okay.
And then just basically get a free ult advantage from that, with them only having at that point either only supports or only support plus shatter.
Sounds good. Ty, is that your name?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to give me one.
So another thing we could do with them stacking high ground is we could commit to using window early. I could just toss a flame strike up there and right before throw a window in front of it, maybe.
Sure, absolutely. You could just window in the low ground, and maybe you window in the low ground in a way that, like, okay, they're gonna want to drop on us now, but we window and it makes it awkward for them. And then what happens when they drop? What could you do?
We could look to burn Ryan or freeze him so I can get a free shatter off.
Sure. Okay. Like these are fine. Like both of those are absolutely fine, but there needs to be something that you do. This is why you ult track, so you have an idea of like what what you need to be playing around. And then this is why you need to fight plan. Ult tracking should take no longer than 5 or 10 seconds. It doesn't need to be all of their ultimates. It just needs to be the important ones. And then instantly, what do we do? Like, what's the game plan? Anybody can pipe up. Anybody can speak up. I don't know if you guys have like an IGL or a one-shot color. I prefer having maybe one person responsible, but everybody chimes in and gives their thoughts, or especially around their ultimates. But what we're going to see here is we're going to see if there was a plan at all. Was it a dry fight? Were we anticipating their ultimates at all? Did we have any game plan for when they dropped at all? And we're going to probably, even without communication, probably going to be able to tell. Uh-oh, that's no good. Like, we'd like to, either shift, speed, or matrix set. Lamp there is obviously pretty expensive. So you're basically just, your BAP is late in rotation. Okay, what's the easy fix for this?
This happens to me a lot because I get a lapse in judgment, but basically I just need to like hug my Ryan or hug my Diva.
Yeah, sure, hug your Ryan, hug your Diva. When you're rotating, you have to play with your tanks. When you're not rotating, you obviously want to play away from your tanks, but when you are rotating, you need to be stacked. You stack here, and then you can split here, and then you can rotate here, and then again, you'd probably have to stack and then quickly rotate here, right? But you need to ask for resources if you need to get there, because this is a situation where all I'm glad we talked about it, but it doesn't matter what we talk about now. Our BAP is dead. It is GG's. Card's moving. Uh-oh. Unlucky. So, I don't give a rip about the Vol fights. I just really don't care. The Vol fights just come down to mechanics and target focus, which aren't something that we need to talk about right now, so we just prioritize. Okay? All right, let's, they use Shatter. They use Window. Did they use Beat as well? They did.
They did off the Shatter, yeah.
They did. Strawberry, no, that was so bad. Okay, hey, did you guys know that they use Beat?
Yeah.
You did? Sick. I mean, that was exciting.
Yeah, we laughed about it a bit.
Brilliant. Okay, well, let's do this exercise again. Is there anybody comfortable besides Ty or Alto talking up a little bit?
I mean, I can, yeah.
Do it up. Okay, so you remember the exercise we just did last fight, where they gave me the important winning condition that they're probably going to do, and then what we want to do about it. What is your opinion? What should we do this fight? What do you think?
Since we know that they used Beat, at least they use Shatter, we still have we have Blizz. In this case, what I would have done since Cart was pushed up so far is probably go try to hug this natural cover, or at least go through Castle.
Sure.
And then as we get if we see them, or if we get closer to like if they engage, like we throw blizz and we try to like bait anything out if we can, or just like react to it as it comes.
Sure.
Because I also have window, or we could try to poke them where they're at right now.
Sure. So would you go left or right on the way I'm looking? Left this way or right this way, do you think?
I would say left.
Okay, so you're gonna try and rotate up through castle like this.
I think since where like I think just looking back on it, I think what we could have done is we could have gone on this really long like under castle type way.
Okay.
And then just come up beside the payload and kind of flank around them, since we know that they're playing so high.
Sure. Can put your diva on cart, and then if they rush on, you can window from distance, like you said. And if they rush on, you just kind of chuck your blizzard and hope for the best. And then obviously, if they get Grav May, you have diva still, you have lamp, and you have beat as well. Sure, that's fine. Go for it. But again, are we going to see? So if we do have a plan, I'll be happy to judge the quality of the plan. But let's see if we actually have one. Do you guys remember this fight?
Not really.
Okay. What is a major issue that we have again, though, that's not related to planning?
I went out before we were ready to.
Yeah. So Ryan's shield is not for protecting his team unless they are rotating, in which case it is incredibly important. So this needs to be here. There's a desync with a rotation, which is what cost us our BAP last time, and it's about to happen again. So yes, if we look at Eclipse's POV here, we're
yeah, I'm not doing anything important right here.
We're not doing anything important right now, but I don't really care, because at this point you should, before you even like, as you're walking out, you can already see it's not just Eclipse either. You kind of like look at your Hanzo, look at your Mei. They just got hit by a fire strike, like, so it's not just our goofy clown BAP doing this. It's your whole team. So this is come on Eclipse, but also come on, bro, like you gotta help the rotation here. Wherever you go, they need that shield. I love like the courtesy shield, but like what do you like? It's not even like actually doing anything there. So, oh dear, Eclipse. Oh dear. Maywall probably not necessary there. Again, not really hard focus on micro, but let's see if our planning looks good. They're gonna grab Mei. They're looking for Matrix. There it is. There's the Mei. The rotation wasn't great, but let's whoa, wait, you ate in the Mei ult.
Yeah, so
nice.
That was I kind of throughout this series, especially after the last one, kind of said fuck going for eating the Grav. I know that the Mei is going to ult every single time afterwards, and I can probably get it most of the time.
Yeah, totally fine for me. I'm down for that. Like, the Grav just isn't going to kill Jack if you have beat, so like, yeah, sure. Oh, Eclipse.
I think this was I can't like speak for like in person, but like my BAP is a lot worse than my other supports.
That's okay.
On Lijiang, I think we're also going over that one. Are we? Or are we going on Rahana?
If we have time, we'll see.
Okay.
If we have time.
I much rather prefer like Moira, even though I know she's not great right now. But I also think this was just me and Nugget not talking to each other about what's being used. Granted, beat was out, but I threw lamp anyways.
So question, is the problem that you're just not good at BAP, or the fact that you're just not talking with your Lucio?
I would honestly attest it to both.
Okay, so let's fix the one that's instantly fixable rather than the one that's going to take a lot of grinding and ranked. For right now, your BAP can suck butt, but as long as you can say, hey, Nugget, are you going to beat or am I going to lamp? And he says, I'm going to beat, or she says, I'm going to beat, and then that's it. And there you go. There's your conversation. Now you're good at BAP. Like,
yeah.
Congratulations. It's the easiest 6 in the world. But yeah, rotation probably not amazing, like a little goofy. But you know what? Hey, it got there. We ate the mail. We anticipated it. Now, like, let's see what happens now. Because did we have another plan of once we got here, or was it just we hope something happens?
I don't think we had a plan.
It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it. Like that Zarya is inside of us, as is that Reinhardt, and we still haven't clicked our Blizzard, right? And now we're using a Hanzo ult, like that we didn't even have generated. So I mean, it's fine to use Hanzo ult here, but it kind of seems like, oh, I see an opportunity, I just go for it. Which again, we don't want to rely on that. We can use those, but we don't want to rely on it. You guys probably win this though. Flip the map. And this is where, this is how D.Va gets value, right? Look at what Alto's doing. QG. This is where D.Va's better than Zarya, right here. See this?
Yep.
Like, what can they do? Very good. Okay, that's not true at all. Solid. Rotation needs better shield. We need a better plan of what to do when we get there, because you guys clearly were playing around Grav May, but you didn't know how to actually win the fight once that was done. When you had Mail available and you had Window available, right? So neither of those were used, and you end up actually winning off of the Hans ult, which you didn't have going into the fight. So that's goofy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Rest of the stuff, fine. Positioning was a little better. We managed to flip the map. We got D.Va on a nice little angle there. Hanzo got a little bit of space. Excellent job. Okay, we keep going. They go Soldier, so that's, I guess, a thing. Okay, so really, really quickly, just so make sure we understand, why do you think Soldier is trash in Brawl News? Like, absolutely trash.
Very, very, very low burst outside of his right click.
Yeah, like just no kill threat at all, no strong, long angle pressure. The only way Soldier does anything against Brawl is if he hard flanks. But why does that not work very good against you guys?
D.Va and Hanzo.
You have D.Va and Hanzo, exactly. Yeah, D.Va and Hanzo. D.Va says, "Oh, you're over there. Well, now you're not. Like, now you're not allowed to be over there." So yeah. Like, the Soldier's not very good. Okay, so we keep going. So, did you have a plan here? Do you think? First off, did we ult track? Did we ult track? Probably.
I believe I said something along the lines of, I think they only have supports.
Okay, so that's great. Okay, but did we plan here? And if we didn't, who hasn't spoken up yet? Who is there anybody else who'd be comfortable telling me like a basic fight plan here?
Go ahead.
You go first.
There you go.
I mean, we could probably hold corner just really safely. We've got the support for it, and the
Sure.
Ryan. Maybe have D.Va on the left side,
Yeah.
that high ground spot,
Yeah.
and just hold out until they push a little bit. Have Blizzard in the back.
Yeah. Sure.
Strap them.
Yeah. Any aggression that you guys don't even, if you guys don't want to aggress, you're like, I want to play this slower. Okay, sure. I don't give a rip. Like, you can play fast, slow, nobody cares. And just counter their aggression with Blizzard. Absolutely. And obviously, with Shatter, you just look for an opportunity whenever you can. You can combo it with Blizzard. It doesn't matter. Like, just look for an opportunity and go for it. Yeah. I think Window is probably an ultimate I'd like to see prioritized a little bit more with you guys, because it is so easy to build up. Yeah, that's a totally fine fight plan. But like, well, first off, I'm not sure what the plan here is. Were you looking for Shatter?
Yeah, I got really focused on taking that corner away, and then when they threw Lamp, I didn't really have a backup plan.
Yeah, we could see that. Your backup plan was to press the gas pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't great. So micro error, but it happens, no big deal. But we do need to be. I'm concerned about the fact that we kind of go into that fight without really knowing what we were going to be doing. And that's what you can control. I don't give a rip like how good you are individually at each hero. I don't care if you're Diamond, Plat, Masters, nobody cares. Fix that. And again here, we're gonna see real darn quick whether you guys had a plan at all. I'm smelling the D.Va bomb, maybe.
I think so, if I remember.
Maybe. Oh, they're just giving up a lot of space. So they're trying to build ultimates here.
I think Blizz was the plan here, and then I saw that Shatter opportunity.
Yeah, Blizz is definitely the plan. Look at that positioning. Yeah, that's definitely the plan. And then we just still nice block, even though we're low and we get yoinked. Nice Shatter.
Thank you.
Window, we see an opportunity, but it's too late. We don't get our lamp off, and then we die. And then they Grav May. Thankfully, they Grav May. That's the nicest thing that they could have possibly done for you guys. But we have now been sitting on our May ult for, what, 4 fights? Probably? I think 4 fights. I don't think we've used a single May ult this entire map.
Yeah, we had a lot of trouble getting value out of it as a team.
Sure. So how would you get value out of it as a team? You guys aren't stupid. Figure it out for me.
So I think our issue was we were trying to get the most amount of people in the Blizz instead of the most important person in the Blizz.
Okay. Who's the most important person to get in the Blizz?
Depends on the ults. And in the neutral fight, like it is now with no ults, I would
Okay.
probably say the Rhine.
Sure. Does it really matter who you get in the Blizz as much as if they're frozen or not?
I'll let our main.
Because kill's a kill, right? Kill's a kill. If you get a 5v6, you now have an 85 or what is it, like an 80% chance of winning the fight, right? So a kill's a kill. What's stopping you from getting a kill with Blizzard right now? What's stopping you from getting a kill on the Ryan, Zarya, Mei with Blizzard?
I guess we just aren't pushed up enough, or
Okay.
I didn't hit the button soon enough, I guess.
Well. I'm not mocking you. There is something stopping you. What's stopping you?
I think I was just trying to trap them with my ice block, and I wasn't seeing the opportunity right then and there.
Okay, sure. What else is stopping you? Look at your screen now.
Bubbles.
Bubbles stopping you. You know what else is stopping you from getting a kill? Ice
Their
block.
ice block.
Yep, ice block. So how are you going to force Bubbles and ice block? Because it triggers me when somebody says we just need to force. Okay, guys, force Bubbles, ice block, and then we're gonna mail. How? how?
Just do damage to head.
Do damage, right? I mean, to an extent, like you could wall and aggress, but like, what would be the game plan?
So
bomb.
For me personally, would either be force it out with the bomb
Sure.
or
What else is on the table that's really cheap and a guaranteed bubble force almost always?
window.
Window. Just window right now. Ice block, ice wall, bubbles, shields low. You turn the corner, they're gonna kite all the way to here, and you're gonna go sayonara, senorita, and they're all frozen. No bubbles, no nothing, and you're gonna laugh at their lamp, right? It's not gonna matter. So you see what I'm saying? And then again, this comes into planning. Like you shouldn't be planning this now. Do you see the problem? Like this should not be something that you should be thinking about it now, right? All right, we know they don't have any ults here. Nothing that's really important. All we need to do is could we set up a mail with window, right? Can we diva bomb window? Can I shatter window? Heck, honestly, just like you could go up to Reinhardt shield and just press Q, and their Zarya would probably panic bubble. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't recommend that, but she probably would. That Mei would probably blow ice block. They're just like ultimate, press the cooldown. You just needed those cooldowns used, and then you just wall and Blizzard, and that's it. You full cap. But instead, we're just kind of like waiting, and we just never Blizzard. We never even look to force the things that would help our Blizzard to work. And that's a problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it sounds like we just have half a plan most of the time.
Yeah, it does. It does. You know what this sounds like? This sounds like I want to Blizzard this fight. Okay, sounds good. No, that's dog. That's
pretty accurate.
That's dog.
Yeah, we definitely play more reactive than we do proactive, because I think at least for me, because me also and Nothlin have played pretty consecutively together in this kind of setting, so it's like me personally with playing BAP, I'm just kind of like I'll window when I can see it, because I don't know when I can use it well.
Sure, and that's fine. Like you're inexperienced with the hero, so you're not like really sure. For example, our planning here with Blizzard required our Mei to know to look for bubbles. Now you could have probably gotten a kill with Blizzard even if they hadn't used bubbles. That Zarya is probably not good enough to punish it, but like, whatever. But it did require at least a little bit of knowledge from your Mei on how to okay, we do need to force bubbles here. So I'm not saying it's just it's the easiest thing in the world. Yeah, there's a little challenge. Like you might have an issue getting value out of window because you're like, I have no idea how to use this ultimate. That's fine. But let's at least start trying stuff, right? Let's at least start pushing ourselves to try and figure it out. If you're not sure, ignorance isn't an excuse. Figure it out. Think about it. Try different things. Obviously, maybe in this circumstance, you're in an official match, it's a little scary. But even in an official match, if you're willing to just kind of sit in your heels and just kind of see what happens, that's no good. Because do you remember when we talked about the reactive plan on second? Remember how they drop and we look for a wall and put? Remember that?
Yeah.
That was a reactive plan. What a reactive plan is when they do this, we do this. We're not even reactively planning. We're just saying, we'll look for Blizzard, I guess, or I'll try and eat mail, That's not a reactive plan. A reactive plan would be if they push us or they grab us, I'm Blizzarding, or I'm beating, or I'm going to counter shatter, or I'm going to diva bomb. They're going to rush us with beat, and we're gonna blizzard or something like that. You're reacting to what they're doing, right? And right now we're not being proactive, we're not being reactive, we're just existing and hoping something good's going to happen. And when that happens, you end up with people being on different pages. If like right now, this is what happens when you don't have a good planning stage. This isn't just, oh, you're maze feeding. Electric sucks, man. What a terrible May player. You know, what a great. No, this is also, you guys have no idea what you're doing. Why the heck is my Reinhardt behind my May? Why is my Lucio sitting AFK in cart instead of speeding my May and looking for Blizzard, right? Whose fault is that? I don't know. All of us. Yeah, exactly. All of yours. It's a good wall. I mean, it's not a good wall, but it's fine. Right? There's a lot of space here, a lot of isolation, and it's just not being used. So yeah, does that make sense, guys? And what ends up happening is we end up the shatter is used, windows used, nothing happens. Thankfully, like I said, they use the graph May, but we want to be like, what are we actually trying to accomplish? We can be like, listen, guys, we're gonna go and sit on cart. The second they move towards us, we're gonna react. If they use an ultimate first, we're gonna match with this. I don't want you guys to always force proactive playstyle, but I want you guys to have an idea of like what you're trying to accomplish in a team fight. Okay, so all right, so one of you guys has not spoken up yet. One of you let the other one go. What should be the fight plan here? Who has not spoken up yet?
That'd be me. Nugget.
Sick. And what position do you play?
I'm the Lucio.
Sick.
So we know they used Grav Blizz, so we can go super aggressive with our own Blizzard here. We can use Dragons to split, speed boost in, and Blizzard the whoever's split.
Brilliant.
Try and get the easy kills.
Brilliant. No complaints. Okay, so let's see. Probably a little early. Remember what we talked about with the Hanzo or the window with the mail? What are we using the Hanzo ult for? To force bubbles, and then the mail afterwards to punish the bubble. Remember that? And you can kind of see the issue here, because before you even mail, look at what the Hanzo ult's doing. 3, 2, 1. You see how they're already starting to back off even before the blizzard goes off? We'll go back like 1 second or 2. Right here. Okay, they're already backing off, kiting off here, and starting to use bubbles, right? So if you wait, blizzard now, you're gonna catch this entire group here. You see that? But I will say this. There seemed to be more of a fight plan here, right? Like something's it's not happening well, but somebody got frozen. You guys are actively like, look at what we're doing. 1's pushed up, 2 is pushed up, 3 is pushed up, 4 is pushed up. I like it, right? This is more of what we're looking for. You force beat, you force lamp, you got to kill, and most importantly, look at the position of the map. What do you guys see here?
We have more space.
Oh yeah. What is their soldier going to do? If their soldier doesn't kill your BAP in the next 2 seconds, the enemy team loses this fight. They're all in a tiny little area of the map. They've got nowhere to go. Their Ryan has no cover. Your Hanzo is a long angle. You guys are in a pretty good position to win this. Good. A little risky with the active window. Great beat. Just keep going. Go, 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 go. That Zarya needs to die. Oh, do you guys get stalled out here?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
That sucks, man. That sucks. Here, let's talk about this then. Let's talk about this.
I do think that that's one of our bigger issues, is that once we get a pick or two, target focus and that sort of thing just kind of
sure. So I'll say this. The first thing I would say is probably the Diva Bomb isn't necessary, especially when there's an active window. Better to play it safe and then use your Diva Bomb to remech. So what I would do is I would just all in the Soldier or all in the Batiste and then use your bomb to remech. Okay? You die here, unlucky, but also probably should not have even been in that position in the first place. Because you're up 2, the only thing that can happen is the enemy team can clutch, and they can't clutch if it stays at 64. If you give them the opportunity to kill you as Baby Diva, then they can pull it back and clutch it. Now, what I want to look at here is normally we don't talk about target focus, normally, but that Zarya needs to die. And I don't know why we're shielding when we're beated as Ryan either. You need to go. So right now, you're full HP and you're beated. That Zarya must die. Must. The soldier must die. Right? Instead, we then transition to the Lucio. And we go to the Zarya, and then we ice block, even though we're beated and full HP. And then we go in, but now we're ice walled. And now we should be shielding, but we shield too late. And now our Ryan's gonna die. You see the issue? So, target focus a little bit, but I just win in these devolved fights. I want one person, the person generally with the shortest range, calls one target, and everybody focuses down that target. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And honestly, guys, don't sweat it. Like, you guys set up this fight nicely. The only thing I would have said is Hanzo may stagger those ultimates a little bit. Use one to force the cooldown so the other one will get kills. Because you saw how much space you guys got from this. And then don't worry about that. Like, that kind of stuff is really, really, really booming. But it just doesn't matter. It happens. Go next. Okay. Now, we're going to do the exercise again. Ult tracking is probably a train wreck right now, but let's assume that your ult tracking is somewhat accurate. How do you win this fight? Anybody?
I since we know that they shattered like very late, so they're probably gonna either not they're not gonna have it or they're gonna be halfway have it like they have it right now. The fight lasts long enough that they're gonna be close to some ults. Like, I would know that, and then I think our win condition right now is to either do the same thing with Hanzo ult, where we like kind of split them, ulted onto point, and then we just kind of like run at whoever gets separated.
Sure, sounds like a great plan. You don't have a lot of other options right now, so works for me. Good, brilliant. The only thing is just like micro-wise is this is where you, as a Reinhardt, you need to get to this corner ASAP. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Goodbye, Bap. Brilliant job. This fight is now. There's no way that you guys should have any chance of winning this fight, and somehow you do. Well done, guys. Good stuff. And your Diva's in deep as well. You guys need to push off of that. You do. Unfortunate. Don't worry about it. I think that's a fine trade. Like, okay, yeah. This is the only egregious.
Yeah,
this is the only egregious error is the window that you guys do when the fight's clearly lost. I say clearly lost because they got to grab Blizz and you guys don't have Lamp or Beat, so that's a lost fight. But you know what? You take that. Like, that's a clean fight from you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ults for what? 2, right? 2 with the Shatter and the Hanzo ult. The window is just an afterthought. You take that. Well done. That unironically was probably the best fight we've seen so far in terms of just efficiency. And did anything like complicated happen at all? Or was there anything complicated about that fight plan at all?
No.
Really, no. I think we said something about trying to split them with dragons, but that's about it.
I made the call to throw dragons at the Rhine so they could split and I could have free shatter.
Yeah, nothing complicated at all. It was just fine, and then you guys don't have to micromanage. Just say, guys, we're just gonna throw a dragon at them, and I'm gonna look for shatter, and then everybody can kind of use their judgment about like what they should be doing around that, right? And that's what you guys did, and you guys almost turned the 0 chance you guys should win that fight, like 1% chance, and you almost did. Well done. Okay, we're gonna go Moira. Is this just like you're more comfortable in the hero last fight kind of a situation? I just used window.
Yeah,
sure.
Because like I said, they grabbed Blizz or they did something. So I was like, I think I can afford to go Moira here, especially to get back to point faster since I died so late.
Do it up. If it's a comfort pick, it doesn't matter. Go for it. Yeah. What's the fight plan here?
Grav.
Blizz. Grav's out. Blizz is out. So what do we do?
If I remember, I think the call was to throw Blizz behind them and force them to back up.
Sure. Okay. So throw
while
Blizz
simultaneously being able to back up.
Yeah, right. So like maybe wall rush and Blizz like here, and then they get like we already saw this with the Grav and the Blizzard and the Dragon rather, how they just got all over the place. There was terrible positioning for them. So let's see what happens. You see the problem? What's the problem here?
We didn't pressure enough, and then when we threw the Blizz behind, they just free rotated, and I didn't adjust for it either.
Yep. The problem isn't necessarily the quality of plan. The problem is that I see 2 different things happening at the same time. I see very static, and I see very aggressive. Right. And this isn't going to cut it. Do you need to be pushing with your Mei on top of... Let's put it this way. Do you need to be pushing on top of your Mei right now? Trick question.
I think we probably shouldn't have the Mei there.
Yeah. You don't have to, no. But you do need to push something.
Yeah.
I was going to say not necessarily. Either we need to be with Mei or Mei needs to be with us, and we need to be doing something here
In
together.
this situation, I should probably push the left side here because
Sure.
I don't, and we get
Sure.
shattered.
And I want to... Right, and I want to be very clear that, again, you don't have to push with Mei. Mei can go in like an idiot and then just ice block and survive and whatever, but the value's still there. Lucio's frozen, Zarya's bubbles forced, all the attention's on Mei. This guy needs to die. If your Mei's in, you also need to be in, but you could be in over here, right? The point isn't that you're always aggressive on the same spot, but that you're aggressive at the same time. Do you understand?
Yep.
That's the key. You guys get int McCree here, right? Now, obviously, like Shatter is probably the priority here, but I think the issue here is that like now you're aggressing, but it's too late. It's too late. Like they should already be dead at this point, or they should already have been aggressed on that. McCree should be dead. McCree should already be dead. If McCree's dead here, now you can turn your attention to the Ryan, to the Zarya, and maybe you guys don't get 6-man shattered. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue here. The timing is just a wee bit off. And like obviously we could talk about like tracking Shatter and, you know, fading, like we probably should have faded the Shatter and, you know, whatever. But the main problem is that I've got Mei aggressing and my team shielding for a full second and a half before we actually aggress. And that's the problem. And that's the stuff that you guys as a unit must prioritize. It's the big picture, easy stuff. And again, let me put it this way. Simple, not easy, right? That's the thing I always say, because it's easy to understand, but hard to execute on. That's the big thing. Does that make sense, guys?
Mm-hmm.
So what are we seeing as priorities right now? Like what needs to be prioritized?
Fight communication, and I'd say keeping the communication up as the fight dissolves.
Sure. Okay. Sounds great. Sounds great. All right. We're going to go in defense. Why the soldier? Comfort pick?
I think so. He didn't really ask. He just kind of did it. Nobody said anything.
Okay. That's not really acceptable, in my opinion. You need to know what you're playing around. Because if you're playing a soldier here, you're hot trash until you get onto point, in which case he can utilize high ground. And that's important because that means that you guys probably won't want to stuff this choke. You probably want to let them get to point if they're playing a brawl comp so that your soldier can get value. So Frozone needs to, if we're swapping picks, he needs to tell his team. And you guys need to be able to play around that. I don't think soldier is very good, but I think soldier is very fine as long as you actually know what's going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You guys are a team. You're an organization. You're a university. You know, have some pride. Put some effort into this. This isn't you know, bronze, you know, your main tank tilts and just leaves voice chat and swaps Roadhog. You know what I'm saying? This is university playoffs. Obviously it's not exactly like that, but still not acceptable to swap without talking to your team. Okay. Now, similarly, well, again, like how do you guys, what should a neutral look like? Again, just let me revamp. What should a neutral look like?
So the call I made here was that I'm going to play by the doorway because I know that their Mei is going to try to wall me. Mm-hmm. So I'm baiting a wall and slipping behind it.
Okay.
So that we can engage with our own free wall.
Okay, so like here-ish?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to like tuck in here? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, after I get walled, I'm going to slide into the doorway.
Sure. Okay, sounds good. Okay. Hey! Brilliant. Nice job. Now, if you're going to push with your Mei wall, what should you be doing? Optimally.
Playing up closer.
Playing up closer. But everybody, yeah, on and off angle, exactly. So, like, what I would love to see is, like, if we go in, well, let's just see what happens. I won't talk yet. Oh, no. You got nuked. Holy smokes.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to my health.
Let's see. Okay, you bait Mei wall. Brilliant. You just kept swinging a little bit. I think.
Yeah, you didn't get healing at all. I don't know how. I don't know why.
All right. Okay.
You're reloading. Didn't tell me.
I also missed quite a bit.
Just a couple of misses, but
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest though, you'd really like to synchronize your pressure at the same time though, because I'm still like, I wouldn't want to see you go that aggressive without a Mei wall, right? Because the problem is, like, even if you get healing there, you're still going to be getting chunked, and then we Mei wall. Hey guys, we want to push. Oh wait, we can't because Tai is 200 HP, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's no good. So even if you do get healed properly, okay, we messed up, we didn't make whatever. You still need to be okay. I'm synchronizing my pressure around the Mei wall, and this is Tai playing aggressive and Mei playing passive, and instead of vice versa, like we saw at the end of our attack. So that's something to point out. Synchronize that pressure, because like right now, can you imagine if you were still alive here? Like, holy smokes, I'm salivating looking at this swing.
A lot of old charge.
Yeah. I also want to point out, like, another reason they win this fight. You see it? You see it?
I don't think anybody called that until it was like
We probably didn't even
anybody
scout
saw
it.
that at all.
I don't think anybody saw it. That's a pretty sneaky play, right? My point there is that flanks are important, even in Brawl. So, okay.
Stop the payload.
Unfortunate. We go next fight. What should we be talking? Yeah. We swapped to Zarya. Okay. What should we be talking about right now?
Old charges, what the game plan is now that since they've pushed us so far up, like what we need to do.
Yeah, what we need to do, because it's not just ults. It's also like, okay, where do we want to fight, guys? Like can we go castle? Like, castle's really strong. Can we play castle? And like, if they try and push us, we Mei wall and smack them in the mouth. Sure, but something needs to happen, because I guarantee you, there's probably way too much dead space here. Either that or garbage quality space. In other words, like, okay, Ryan shield low. Sorry, no bubble. Lucio in main. Do you guys want high ground? Like that kind of stuff. Like, what are we doing? Like, we know castle's good, right? So what was the game plan here?
What they did last week is they left one on cart and then everyone went and stood high ground. So I tried to call for a rotation to let them do that, and then we go take the 1v6 on cart.
Do it.
But we went, I think I went too soon and we kind of had people behind. So then I just get charged out of castle. Like, see, I didn't let him get upstairs yet.
Yeah, so you know what? Okay, I'm completely dead wrong. You did have a plan. This looks nice. Let me but
I'm way back. Yeah.
What?
I was behind to begin with. I'm pretty sure, because I stood in doorway,
True,
like castle doorway.
But you also jumped for no particular reason either.
Yeah.
Which slows you down immensely. Yeah, I think you definitely you went too early here. That's the main problem here, but also you could have lamped this. We could have lamped this if our BAP had been in position, and we probably would have been fine. You chuck lamp, you guys just W key, and you might have been able to make it. But yeah, unfortunate. I will say this, that on this map, if you do catch people to doing this, you can kill this person and you can flip the map. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Okay, so again, slow in our rotations. Very slow and sloppy with our rotations. And obviously the rotation timing probably wasn't perfect either, right?
Yeah, I think part of our biggest issue is like it's not apparent in these maps, but we did play another kind of like tournament setting where we tried to do like an on the spot play, and then like 2-3 of our players were just not listening.
Okay.
And then so it comes into that too, and like we don't check and make sure everybody's ready, like in that play where I'm behind anyways, and I'm slowing myself down too, so it's like I'm not there, and I could have saved something too.
So this was in a tournament setting.
This wasn't,
well,
but we did play another one.
This was playoffs.
The thing that you're referring to was a tournament.
Yeah.
setting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it was on Icon, and we had payload like just unlocked, and the call was to go stairs up top to high ground, like coast stairs up top.
Yep.
And we had a DPS and a healer that just were kind of off on their own.
Yep.
So the rotation was terrible.
So how often do you guys scrimmage?
We play once a week, scrim once a week, but now that we're done, we're trying to scrim in match time, so it'll be 2 times a week.
Okay. When do you practice the listening problems? When does that become something that you guys actually train? Or when should?
During scrims.
During scrims, right. If this is a big enough issue, then there's like, you have 4 hours a week of practice that needs to be fixed. Like, I'm not talking about like, oh, it's just slight improvement. No, it needs to be fixed. The whole listening issue. And you have to keep each other accountable. Be kind and decent and respectful, but it needs to be fixed. It's the same thing as the between fight planning. Like, my rope and your rope should be very short when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because it's a difference when it comes to mistakes, and then there's just, oh, we just don't do that. Well, why not? Right? It doesn't take skill to do that. If you have a functioning brain and ears and eyes, then you should be able to do that. So that needs to be fixed. And I don't know like what your coaching or leadership position is, but you don't need one to be able to fix that. You need to keep each other accountable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's see if we have a game plan here. Okay. So what was the game plan here? Do you guys remember?
Hide from wall, and I was trying to contest cart.
Sure. But how does that win you the guys to fight?
I don't think it does.
No,
It doesn't.
didn't have enough of a plan.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I think a lot of our quote unquote plans, I guess, rely a lot on hope they do this.
Yep. You have a lot of options here. What are your options?
We could
Soldier could potentially start
Soldier
pressuring
flank.
high ground.
Yeah, soldier flank high ground, man. If that Zarya drops or uses personal, GG's for their backline. Soldier flank. What else?
We have windows, so even forcing out bubbles, window fire strike,
Sure.
and just general usage of it.
Sure, window fire strike. You use window to break their Ryan shield and shatter anybody on cart. Yeah, could window high ground, make some of them drop off high ground. You could play as window to buy time, build time for Blizzard. So many options, guys. You guys are so smart at this. I don't like you're underselling your ability to understand the game. Like the first thing I come in here and I ask you guys, like, what is a Hanzo bringing to the table? And I'm expecting somebody to say, oh yeah, Stormbow Rhine Shield. And the first thing you guys said was, oh, he needs to like look for like a good angle. I'm like, these guys know their stuff, right?
it has to do like because we could look back at it, and looking back at it does nothing but like, oh, for the future. But it's more like player mechanics in like just in the the moment. Because I know Frozen. Yeah, Frozone. He has mechanics, but he doesn't have like a whole lot of game knowledge, like to the extent that like Alto and Nodlin do.
Sure. But how many times have we lost team fights because of like a lack of game sense or mechanics?
A lot more than
a lot,
mechanics.
yeah.
Right. And how many team fights have we lost to stuff like just basic pre-fight planning and basic rotations?
Most of them.
Most of them. Like, so yeah, Frozen might not be as like experienced with like game sense and stuff like that, but you're not losing fights because Frozen's game sense isn't catching up.
I wasn't trying to like blame that on him.
No. I understand that but I understand what you're saying. You're directly referring to the point I just made. So that's completely understandable. My point here is that nobody in this situation is speaking up, because again, like you have to understand as well that sometimes in team fights you're just not going to have time to like sit there and have a perfectly structured between fight plan. It's up. Frozen just needs to be comfortable saying, guys, I have visor. I'm going to go look for a visor, and this needs to be, Eclipse just says, I'm just going to window this, or Nodlin's like, can we set up a flash shatter, or can we set up like a boop shatter, or like, I don't know. Can we like focus Rhine shield? Somebody has to try. Like, you have to win this fight. And this is where, like, I'm not going to get into it, but, like, the psychology of, like, getting snowballed is when people stop talking, and that's just, you screw yourself over. Because as soon as you stop talking because you're frustrated, then you start losing even worse because your planning goes down the crap, right? So, but, like, I mean, you're going to lose this fight. Like, you're just...
As far as planning, I feel like my personal biggest issue was, because I'm generally the one that at least tries to come up with pre-fight plans, is my peak was relatively very loosely, relatively high in goats. So I think I try to overcomplicate it way too much for myself to where I completely miss small things.
Yes. The big thing is just... And like, go ahead. I'm interrupting.
Yeah. I think my brain's like, I think, oh, this is like a 900 IQ play. And then I just completely missed the fact that we could have just flash shattered 2-head or something like that.
Sure. Because the thing is, you watch Overwatch League and you're like, oh man, I want to, but you have to understand that even like, and I promise you, at coaching at that level, you don't need complicated stuff. You just need to do the basics. You need to do the basics good. The flashy, the Great Bamboozle Gladiators 5-man rotate while Surefour stays in spawn is like the 0.01% of Overwatch League plays, right? So even in Overwatch League, it's just the basics, It's like knowing, like, okay, we're gonna go for a flank visor here. Like, you guys you're just not gonna win this fight. It's just not gonna happen. Like, there's just no game plan of what we're trying to do. And like right now, the game plan is just survive, right? That's the mission, survive, and that's just not good enough. You're not looking to counter their aggression. You're not looking to be reactive. You're not looking to be proactive. You're just surviving and dying one by one by one by one. Your May's going to die here. Wait, is she? Oh, maybe she gets out. Maybe she gets out. So that
the luckiest wall of my life.
It was a brilliant wall. It was not a lucky wall. It was perfectly mechanically calculated. You did 10,000 calculations in the span of a quarter of a second, and the enemy team got punished. Beta peasants, that's who you were playing, and they got rolled, right?
I like kind of going back to like what I was trying to say about.
I'm complimenting you. Go ahead.
But go back to like what I think I was trying to say with like the whole Frozen thing is like we rely too much on like our tanks to like shot call for us, so we don't think autonomously a lot.
Yeah, and that's a fair thing too, because if your tanks call a lot and are used to doing all the calling, your DPS can be like, well, I shouldn't really be talking because I want to over talk. But the thing is like for a team to be cohesive, even if it's not calling a lot, if you have a plan, make a plan. Call a plan. I'm using this. Just take the responsibility, right? Okay. Last fight, basically. You know what? We're already over an hour in, and I don't want to see the ugly ending. So I want to watch one more team fight. Do you guys win this team fight?
I don't think so.
I don't remember. I don't think we do.
All right, we'll watch it. I'm crossing my fingers. There's just enough time. Maybe you win it. What should you do here? If you were trying to win this game and not trying to just survive it and get it over with because you guys are all sad, how would you guys win?
Push the McCree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take away the Kree's off angle. Look for a Blizz.
Sure. That works for me.
Could window fire strike right side.
Yeah. Or you just stand there and wait for them to blizzard you, and then your Rhine dies, and then your May's gonna die, and yeah. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't any execution there. Okay.
I know personally I was starting to get really tilted about the whole Grav Blizzard every fight thing.
Yeah. It's not fun, is it?
No, we're just the whole time, every fight, everyone just yelling, God, these kids are so boring.
But it means that they should be losing every other fight. And the thing is, if you know what's coming, holy cow, pronunciation is right. If you know what's coming, like for example, like if they Graf made you right here, okay? Your Rhine's dead, okay? How come this McCree's like why it should just be your Rhine? Only your Rhine, right? Your Rhine is just the sacrificial lamb, and then the rest of your team you can go May their backline and you win the game. So just play around it better. Okay, I don't want to. I'm tired of this is too sad. We're gonna stop here, but we have a Q&A. So first off, before we finish and get to the Q&A. What are your priorities as a team? What needs to be fixed? And I want you to prioritize. I don't want a million different things. There needs to be almost like a hierarchy of what needs to be addressed. What do you guys think?
Team first and foremost.
Yeah.
On the same page.
Okay, how are you going to do that?
For me, it's not only making calls, but then also listening to them very closely. Or not even necessarily the very, very nitty gritty of it, but just the general direction. Because sometimes we... like you saw, the one person gets caught out or that sort of thing.
Sure. How are we going to do that?
I need to pay more attention to my backline.
Okay.
The backline talking whenever something like that happens.
Okay. What about between fights?
Figuring out what ults they have, what ults we can use, what we're going to do when we get into that situation.
Planning stage, exactly. So how are you gonna improve on that? What is because what we've done is we've diagnosed weaknesses and things that need to be addressed, and even if you don't have an answer right now, my challenge to you guys as a team is not to say, we need to work on our planning, Coach Spilo, we need to work on our planning, and we need to do a better job. But what are you going to do in your 2 scrum blocks a week or your review a week or whatever to make that better?
So I don't know if it's still relevant, but besides people being individually accountable for trying to track their mirrors ults, but having somebody who's just in the back of their mind, they're always trying to keep a rough track of the most important ones.
Sure. Or having
somebody who specifically is their job.
Okay, so a specific ult tracker. Okay. What else? What about when it comes to the planning stage? What can you guys do in scrims this week or next week to make that planning less hot trash?
Actually do it and make sure. Yeah.
And that's going to take 6 of you guys, right? Now, I know what's going to happen is that a couple of you in this review, especially you big mouths like me, You're gonna try and do all of it by yourself. But my challenge is, number one, is for you to encourage your less vocal teammates to speak up, and especially when it comes to their ultimates, to give them space as necessary. And I encourage you, quieter players, to, if necessary, yell at the big mouse and tell them to shut their trap, and that you want comm space because you want to make a plan about your ultimate, right? So there's going to need to be a little bit of push and pull, right? Obviously, there's going to be some of you that are going to call more than others, but somebody, like you guys all have to like step up. This one person stepping up isn't going to be good enough. It's just not going to be. So if you want this reviewed not to just be, hey, that was fun, we learned a lot, but to be actually something gotten out of it, there has to be effort from you guys in scrims in terms of the planning and in terms of like the dedicated ult tracking and all that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Support each other. Like, get each other's backs. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's Overwatch, it's collegiate, you're diamond. I don't know if your goals are Overwatch League or just to have fun or to graduate or to hit GM. I don't know. It doesn't matter what your goals are. It doesn't matter if you're like, I'm just doing this for like the next 6 months and I'm quitting Overwatch and I'm going to go into like engineering, or I don't give a rip. There's a lot that you can learn in terms of people skills and operating as a team and learning improvement across the board over what happens the next couple of months. Make it count. Make it count. Take something from this besides just learning about map control and learning how to ult track. Like, commit yourself, dedicate yourself, be efficient with it, and I promise you that you're going to learn stuff. And you probably won't even realize it, but you'll pull something away from this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Q&A. Questions can be about the review, can meta, micro, macro, your mama. No, just don't let questions about that.
Does anybody have any character-specific questions, first of all?
I don't personally.
Ethan, you've been pretty quiet. Do you have anything?
Are there other types of walls other than just isolating Ryan that I should be looking for?
You tell me. What are some other walls that you've seen used?
Could block off supports, like if they window or something.
Yep. Walling window is excellent. Yep. What else?
Maybe do the same thing for other ranged, or I could
Sure.
block off Zarya.
Sure. You can lock off Zarya and run her down. Yeah, you can wall off other range. What if they had like a Graviton, or maybe they had a May ult, or maybe they had, I don't know, anything that they're going to try and rush with? How could you use wall that way?
In a proactive case would be to block that person specifically off, or to just isolate them to kill them first.
Yep.
And maybe a reactive tone would just to create an artificial shield so we don't die as quickly.
Yeah. Okay. That's brilliant. That's it right there. So you already know all the night. Like, really, that's it. Like, that's wall. Congratulations, you've solved wall. Now go forth and multiply, or go forth and practice, right? Because you got it right there. Good job. Does that answer your question?
I think so.
It's really easy to answer questions like that. You know, what's the answer to the question? I don't know. You tell me. No. Brilliant. I'm so smart. All right. Any other questions, guys?
So if no one else has anything, it's more specific. It's more of the psychological side, but I am compared to where I was at one point in, scrimming 4.1K. I am incredibly washed.
Yep.
And just trying to not get incredibly frustrated at myself, because going back to heroes I used to play and stuff and play very, very well, obviously in different metas. And then I see myself making really stupid mistakes. It's just kind of, and then it's really disheartening, and it affects me a lot with it.
Do you have a history with sports or any other competition pre-Overwatch, pre-college?
Different esport, but yes.
Different esport. What esport was it?
Blacklight Retribution on the PS4.
Sick. How good were you?
At my peak, one of the best players in the game on a team that was basically undefeated.
That's what I figured. What are your goals with Overwatch in the next 6 months? Like, what is your, actually screw that. What's your long-term goal? I mean, talking long-term, like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now.
For me personally, it's just not, there's not really anything for me personally. It's more I want to grow the program at my school.
Okay. How do you do that?
So outside of obviously physically growing, I I mean, I try to be the coach, but also I'm nowhere near as good at that as I used to be. And I feel like the whole thing with me being washed and everything, and I get very, very frustrated at a lot of things. And like sometimes I don't want to say like snap, but like I do get with tones that I really shouldn't.
At yourself
and it's
or
never,
at your team?
Yes, but it's never because like, oh, you're bad. It's because I've seen you play better, and then you just did that. And I think it's more projecting more than anything.
Yeah, probably. So I have a very similar experience because I'm a very competitive person, right? Like you, I've had a history of being very competitive with a lot of different things, being the best at niche different things. And then you get into a situation where, especially when you used to be good at Overwatch. It's funny that you should say 4.1K because that's my peak. That's where I used to be.
I was still in flat ladder wise. I was scrimming up there with the team,
right?
Because
you used to be better than you were. Now you're not. So what you have to understand is there's two options for you, and I'm not gonna like psychology mumbo jumbo because I'm not qualified for that. But I can tell you that number one, you need to say what are your expectations, and what kind of work are you willing to put in, and then you need to either adjust your work to match your expectations, or you need to adjust your expectations to match your work. Does that make sense? So you're either competitive enough and you really want to be a better player, and you're willing to put in the extra hours of ranked and the extra, like maybe get another scrim a week, looking to ring some scrims that aren't collegiate. And then, hey, guess what? You're going to get better at the game. It might not be instantaneous, but you're going to get better at the game. And you're not going to be like, hey, I'm not as washed anymore. You know, maybe I'm still washed, but I'm not as washed anymore. Or you're going to say, I don't have time for that. I don't have the desire for that. That's not really what my expectations or my goals are with the team, with this university. And you're going to have to accept that. And you're going to have to work on yourself and focus on, you know what? I don't have the time or desire to put the work in for that anymore. So I'm going to have to find a way. And again, this is where, my lack of psychological background is hurtful, but find a way to shift my attention away from that. Because it's hurtful and harmful for you to be beating yourself up for not being what is impossible for you to be, unless you put the time and work in. You got to see what I'm saying? It would be like it'd be like me being depressed and I'm not top 500 in support anymore, even though I'm spending like 8-9 hours a day coaching. Like it's just not possible with me putting that amount of time in coaching, right? And so for you, you're either going to be washed and totally fine with it because you're looking at the real expectations that you have, or you're going to go, you know what? I'm tired of being washed. I'm going to put the work in elsewhere. And there's no good or bad. You just have to make the decision yourself. Does that make sense?
It's really insightful, actually.
It's not easy. I mean, that's not going to solve everything for you, but that at least gives you some direction to go for. Because I understand. I used to be good at Overwatch. I'm washed at Overwatch. I don't have time to get good at Overwatch, so I just have to accept it. And that's why I do other things besides Overwatch. I coach a lot of Overwatch, but I don't play a lot of Overwatch because if I play a lot of Overwatch, I get mad, right? And in your case, it might be a situation where you need to just be decisive. You need to decide, is this something that I really am going to get better at, or am I really just going to be honest with myself and be like, you know what, I'm going to be kind of washed, and that's just how it is, but I don't really care because there's other things that I'm going to be succeeding at instead. There's nothing inherently morally or even socially or success-oriented about being a great Overwatch player. You can be in the Overwatch League, the greatest hit scan in the history of the world, and 2 decades from now, I would be surprised if you're going to find a lot of people that care, right? Success is relative, and it's more important to find like what actually defines success to you and pursue that instead. Okay, does that kind of make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tricky question. Okay, do you guys have any other questions?
So I get frustrated a lot because like over the last year and a half, I've learned a lot more personally about the game. And I've gotten to where when a new comp rolls around, I have the ability to watch a review of it, take the info in, and I know what I need to do, and I know pretty much what the rest of the team needs to do, but I get completely lost when I try to translate that out for the rest of the team.
Okay.
Do you have any idea how I could work on that, or anything that would help the rest of the team get that way?
So kind of like what we went over today, how would you describe the BRAWL? How did we describe the BRAWL comp? It was you may wall, your Ryan aggresses, your diva or Hanzo or Kree or soldier, look for a short angle, and that's it, right? That's all. All the other stuff, the details, just don't matter as much. And what you want to do is every single time a new meta rolls around, you need to find out what's the Maywall in that meta. What is the angle? What are the angles that matter in that meta? If we're playing Moira, Lucio, Reaper, Sombra, Winston, Diva, our Winston goes in, our Reaper TPs, our Sombra takes an angle, our Moira, Lucio speed in and support our Monkey. There's your neutral right there, right?
Yep.
Your Sombra's on the angle, your Reaper's TPing, and your Winston goes in. And so you don't have to go over, like, is it better to use damage or heal orb? Like, what kind of an angle should a Sombra go? Is it better to TP with my Reaper or just press W? Like, don't worry about that. That's something that you need to let up to your individual teammates anyway. But you can set the stage for them by saying, hey, guys, this is just the big 3 fundamentals of what the neutral engage looks like, with or without ultimates, and feed them from that and build off of that. And I think not only will that simultaneously help your team understand it better because there's fewer things to focus on, it will be easier for you to communicate it because you're not going to be trying to spend 15 minutes trying to explain a neutral that you're like, I saw that one video and it made a lot of sense, but now I'm trying to struggle to remember to put it all together. No. Just describe. It's like describing driving as use a steering wheel, you know, the gas on the right, brake on the left, make sure you're in gear. Good luck, right? In a lot of ways, that actually might be the best way for your teammates to learn and for you to communicate because it's so simple. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So find the bare bones, and then that will help you communicate it a little easier. Okay. Any other question, guys? We'll do one more if you guys have one. If not, no big deal. Okay. Well, GG's, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. If you guys ever have any other questions, just shoot me a DM. My DMs will always be open, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But I really appreciate you guys having me on.
We appreciate the help. We don't have a dedicated coach at all, so this was incredibly helpful.
Well, I've made a video on that. Player-led teams work, but you have to. But the players got to work for the player-led teams to work. So good luck, guys. I challenge you guys to not just like take the information today and just kind of like digest it, but digest it and actually apply it. Even if it's just 1 or 2 scrims a week, take it and apply it. Hustle in those couple of hours a week. Make it count. Believe in you guys. But thank you again for having me, and you guys have a good rest of your week.
You too.
Cheers, mates.